Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It's 12 o'clock on a Sunday, which means it's time for a Q&A. Now, this is where I take all the questions that you've asked over the course of the week, and I try to answer them to the best of my ability. So first of all, thank you so much to everybody that congratulated me on the Penguin Magic Creator of the Year award. I'm absolutely blown away. I wasn't expecting to win it. Second year in a row. Super exciting. And, hearing stuff like that makes all of this worthwhile. Anyway, thank you. And also, anyone who's interacted with this channel, anyone that's asked a question, watched a video, shared a video, liked a video, I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much. Now, today, I'm going to be answering all of these questions. If you've never seen a Q&A before, two things that you need to know. First of all, I typically film this on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. Today is Tuesday morning. So if you want to guarantee to get the questions answered, make sure that you ask them, ideally by Monday at the latest. Secondly, if I don't get your question, I'm very sorry. Sometimes I miss a couple. Ask it again. I'll get back to it the following week. And then finally, you're getting my raw, unfiltered opinions when it comes to the questions that you're asking. I've not read them. I'm reading them and giving you an off-the-cuff answer. If I think there's a question that deserves a longer answer, I will normally get to that in due course and make a longer video about it, if that makes sense. So with that all being said, we're going to get fired up with this week's Q&A, and we're going to go straight into this week's questions. Okay, so the first question I see here is from HaberCrazy83, who says, "Hi Craig, thank you for agreeing to answer my question. You're more than welcome. What is the difference between the Nightshade coin set and the Mirage coin set? You also mentioned a new coin set that will be released soon. What's the difference between this new coin set and the existing ones? I'm new to coin magic and I'm considering purchasing one of these sets. Which would you recommend and what coin size should I use?" Okay, so when I sat down a couple of years ago with Alakazam and Pete Nardi and Harry Nardi and the team there, and we came up with the idea of creating the elite coin range, it was because there's not really any coin sets out there that are marketed to magicians that help people go from a beginner level all the way up to kind of an expert level. Now, Justin Miller has some amazing coin sets that he releases, but he releases them on a very, very, very limited basis. He'll literally send an email out to his mailing list and they'll be gone like within seconds, right? Outside of Justin, there's not really any coin sets. You've got coin gimmicks that come out, and they normally come with one or two tricks. And both myself and Pete, we wanted to have this elite coin range where you buy a coin set and there is a ton of information. You don't need anything else. All of the sleights are taught. There's a learning curve, so there's routines that are very easy, going on to routines that are more complicated. There's something for every single level, and the magic is really strong. And we wanted to have a series of these elite coin sets. At the moment, we've got three. We've got the Nightshade coin set, Apparition, and Mirage. Now, honestly, if you've done no coin magic before and you want to jump in, I would say jump in with Apparition. Now, Apparition, it's probably the smaller of the coin sets. You only get 2 coins in a purse. There's a ton of routines on there. It's probably about a 3-hour tutorial. But a lot of the routines that you can do with Apparition are pretty much self-working. Like, the problem with coin magic is you have to learn to hold a coin secretly in your hand, and people can feel guilty about that. You need to learn basic sleight of hand to do most coin routines, right? With Apparition, there's routines that you can do that are completely self-working. It's a great way to get into coin magic. Now, it's not as big or as grandiose as the Nightshade or the Mirage, but it's a great access point. Nightshade and Mirage are both amazing. I couldn't pick one over the other. Realistically, it's down to you. What I will tell you is that in my head, the Nightshade coin set, it deals with more with routines that are designed to be done up here, like 3-fly and things like that, or routines that happen in the spectator's hands. In other words, if you don't have a table in front of you, a lot of the routines with Nightshade are perfect for that sort of that sort of environment, right? If that makes sense. Mirage, although there are routines that happen up here and there's routines that happen in the spectator's hands, that's kind of more, a lot of the routines require a table and require a close-up pad. One of my favorite routines off Mirage is the coin matrix, but the coin matrix requires a table and it requires a close-up pad. So realistically, it's down to you. Both of them really big, like 5 or 6 hour projects. Both of them have loads of coin gimmicks in it that you probably haven't seen before. And they work together in tandem, and I talk about how you can routine acts together using that whole coin set. There's a learning curve with both of them. It just depends if you want more tabled work or more work up here. Regarding the new coin set, we're still at least 6 months away from that coming out. There will be other coin sets in the Elite coin range. There are going to be other things that are dropping into the Elite coin range, not just like big sets, but smaller things as well. Myself and Pete have big plans for the Elite coin range, but in terms of the new set that's coming out, hopefully by around about November time, it's completely different to Nightshade and Mirage, and it's my take on a classic coin gimmick that I've completely changed and reimagined, and taken to a completely different level, a little bit like I did with the flipper in Mirage, and all the routines will be completely different. I'm working on them right now, and it will be very, very different, but it's going to be just as big, just as grandiose. So I wouldn't worry too much about the new coin set for now. If I was going to pick one, I work more in kind of a real world situation. So if I was personally going to pick one and I didn't do coin magic, I would probably go for Nightshade. And I have big hands, so I'd probably go for a dollar size Nightshade. In terms of what size you should go for, there's no right or wrong. If you're performing more for people where they're kind of a little bit further away, like banquet or parlor or a formal close-up show, get a dollar-sized coin if your hands are big enough to get a dollar-sized coin, because it's going to show up better. $half are better if you've got smaller hands, or if you're doing kind of like a walk-around, mix and mingle style performance. So hopefully that helps. Personally, it'd be a dollar-sized Nightshade. If I didn't have any coin magic and I wanted to learn coin magic, I would go for a dollar-sized Nightshade. Okay, the next question is from Jeremy Cardenas, who says, "Hi, Craig. I absolutely love the channel. Thank you very much. I'm very grateful for the time and the information you share to the community. You're more than welcome. I hope this makes sense, but what recommendations would you have for tricks utilities that play well together? For example, I recently came across using Blake Voigt's envelope to really enhance tricks like the Omen or Divide and Conquer." Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. That would be great. Obviously, this isn't needed, but I feel it enhances both a little. There may be many more staring us right in the face that we're not thinking of that may bring new life into tricks or shed new light on using utilities in different ways. I'd appreciate any info or resources. Thanks again for the time and everything you do for the community. So you're basically saying what tricks and utilities play well together, and it's a great question. I don't really think that there are many resources for something like this. I could definitely put a video together, but off the top of my head, I would probably say, okay, so a really underutilized utility, in my opinion, is The Gift by Angelo Carbone. The Gift is amazing. If you don't know what it is, it's basically a box that you put down on a table that's meant to look a little bit like a gift box, and it is the perfect four-way out, because the spectator can open up the box and there's only one item in there and they can take it out. It's the perfect four-way out. So any routine or any trick that requires the use of a four-way out, this is absolutely perfect for. So Quran 101, for example, the classic Quran deck, is a perfect example of using the gift with that would really enhance that. I imagine that this is the sort of thing that you're talking about, but there's lots. I mean, if you sat down and you thought about it, and I haven't got the time to sit down and think about it now, but I could definitely do a video on this. You know, there's so many. One of the things that I've reviewed recently is Joshua Riley's new app that uses Apple Pay to force a number. I think that's amazing. And there's so many different routines that require numbers that I'm playing around with at the moment that Josh's app is absolutely perfect for. I think that's a great new app that's come out, and I think it's flown under everyone's radar as well. There's a few like that. So leave it with me, because this is going to take a little bit of thought. But what I'll do is I'll put a video together of utilities that work well with tricks, and like different utilities that work well with tricks. And hopefully I can get that done in the next week or two. Okay, so the next question is from Bryzelfa, who says, "Hi, Craig. Hope all is well." Yes, very good. Thank you. 2 questions for you. Okay, we'll take them one at a time. Firstly, with the release of Level Up, which is fantastic, by the way, thank you, do you think coin magic will become less common due to no one carrying around coins and being less familiar with them? I don't think that coin magic is ever going to disappear, ever. I do think less people carry coins around with them. I don't carry coins around with me at all. And it's very difficult to borrow coins. I used to do coin bends. I used to do coin vex by David Penn quite a lot. I've stopped doing it now because it's difficult to borrow the coins, right? However, the type of coin magic I do, it's not reliant on coins that people are kind of aware of. So I do a lot of coin magic with silver dollars and silver half dollars and Chinese coins and things like that. And the way I present it, unless I'm producing the coin, right, in which case I'm just producing it. So, if I can produce any type of coin, why would I not produce a silver dollar? But if I'm just bringing the coins out of a purse, for example, I will always introduce them. I say, hey, I'm a coin collector. As well as being a magician, that makes me doubly sad. But I actually collect coins, and these are pride of my collection. These are silver Morgan dollars. They're really interesting. They're from over 100 years ago. Have a look at them. Check them out. Make sure they're okay. Feel the weight of these coins. These coins are really heavy, and I use these coins because you can see them from a distance. They're very big. They're very shiny. Let me show you something amazing with them. That is never going to go away. Coin collecting is still going to be a thing, right? People are always going to... It's going to be a long time. Even if we go completely cashless, it's a long time before people won't know what a coin is. So the way that I do coin magic, and I've had people say, why don't you use UK coins before? My attitude is simple. I'm bringing out a prop that I'm showing people. But, the way that I do coin magic, it's presenting coins that they might not have seen before, like Charming Chinese Challenge, perfect example. Hey, have you ever seen an old Chinese coin before? Have a look at this. This is an old Chinese coin. Have a look at the symbols on them. It's really cool, right? I've also got a ribbon. Have a look at this ribbon. So, no, I don't think coin magic will be less common. What I do think is going to be becoming less common is coin magic where you're borrowing a coin. Hey, can I borrow a coin? Sign it. I'm going to do something for you with it. Less people are carrying coins around with them, so it's a lot harder to borrow a coin and have like a coin to impossible location, for example. It's still possible. People still carry coins around with them, but it's becoming less and less. It's becoming less and less common. So I do think that will be an issue, and borrowing coins are going to become an issue relatively soon. But the reason I brought out Level Up is because I know that there's people out there that don't particularly like using American coins, or coins that are not part of their current denomination. So even Americans don't particularly want to use an American silver dollar because nobody carries around silver dollars with them anymore. I have no problem with it, but the whole idea of Level Up was to bring out something that everyone can relate to, that's kind of a little bit like a coin, that allows you to do similar sort of magic to coin magic, but with an object that's not a coin, right? That's the whole purpose behind it. And I absolutely love performing Level Up because everybody knows what a Switch cartridge is, and you bring it out and it's instantly recognizable, and it's still a thing, and everybody knows what it is and what it does, and so on and so forth. And it allows you to perform coin magic in a very, very different way. It now no longer feels like a coin trick. So that works for me. That works for me and works really well. But yeah, I still don't think coin magic's going to go anywhere no time soon. I think that it's a beautiful, elegant part of magic, and I think that people will still be performing it in many, many years' time. Okay, so the next question again is from Bryzelfa, who says, second question, what is it that got you into magic in the first place? Well, isn't that a thing? So I met a magician, basically. I was working at a holiday park in the UK, and I met a magician. I was there for the whole summer season, and I met a magician, and he started doing magic for me, and I was just blown away. So he taught me some tricks, and off the back of him teaching me some tricks, I was working in Butlins in Skegness. Off the back of him teaching me some tricks, I kind of got really, really interested. And on my day off, I went to Skegness Market. And there was this guy there who was selling card tricks. And he had a long and short deck. He had a Svengali deck, which is a long and short deck, obviously. He had a blank deck. I can't remember. He had a couple of different things. He had a haunted deck, I think, as well. And I bought all of them, and I took them back to Butlins, and I was performing them absolutely every chance I got. And then somebody told me that in Skegness Town there was a magic shop. And I went there, and it wasn't particularly a big magic shop, but they sold all of the Eddie Gibson coin range, and they sold some books and some other tricks. And I literally just spent every penny I made at Butlins, which was not much. I spent every penny that I made buying magic tricks. So I came away from Butlins loaded down with magic, absolutely loaded down with magic, with no money. But it was all gimmicks. I hadn't learned any sleight of hand. I hadn't learned anything. It was all gimmicks and trickery. I hadn't really learned how to do anything. I didn't, and anything at all. But off the back of doing Butlins, I managed to blag my way into doing Camp America. And I went to an American summer camp with no skill at all. I still hadn't learned any sleight of hand or anything. Didn't even really know how to hold a pack of cards. It was an embarrassment, but I was very good at talking myself into situations. So I went to this, kind of this big day in London, and one of the owners of a summer camp that needed a magician, I blagged him into thinking that I was good, when in actual fact I wasn't. And so I went to America, and I went to this summer camp, and I was a complete fish out of water, because everybody else was amazing. And the director of magical studies was Brad Henderson, and I sucked. And so they put me in charge of coin magic because they didn't know what to do with me. So I was learning how to do coin magic, and I was teaching the kids coin magic when I didn't even really know how to do coin magic myself. And yeah, off the back of that, I ended up, I became obsessed with coin magic for that reason. And when I finished the summer camp, I went to Tannen's, I bought a couple of books. I'd still not really handled a pack of cards or done anything with a deck of cards at this point. But I was getting pretty good with coins, and I bought Expert Coin Magic, David Roth's book. I bought Cornucopia. I had VHS tapes of the Michael Amar Easy to Master Coin Magic series, and I just became obsessed with coin magic. I got really good at coin magic before I could do anything else. Before I even knew how to do like a proper self-working trick with a deck of cards, I could do stuff with coins that most people couldn't do. So my journey into magic was very, very different compared to most. One day I'll do a talk magic with myself, and I get somebody to interview me, but that's the very short version of how I got into magic. Okay, so the next question is from Archie Cox, who says, Archie Cox Magic, who says, "Hi Craig, hey Archie, hope you're well. How do you decide whether a product is reviewed on the review show or a review show special?" That's a very good question, Archie. We don't really have any hard or fast rule to it. I obviously do the review show special on my own, and I do the review show with Ryland. And the review show special is normally done on a single product or on a bunch of products by the same creator. And so it's kind of more of a deep dive. So a lot of the time, the review show special is done on items that everybody's really excited about, so I can spend more time talking about it. Whilst the normal review show is just for, the stuff that comes out from day to day, and there's so much stuff coming out. We miss some stuff because it's impossible to review everything. But if there's something that like everybody's buzzing about, if there's something everybody's really excited about, that will normally go onto a review show special. The other thing that goes onto review show specials sometimes is if it's like a ridiculously big project that takes a long time to do, because Ryland's very busy. He's at school, he's performing an awful lot. He's rehearsing, at the moment he's rehearsing for the tour that he's doing with Killian. There's a whole bunch of stuff that Ryland's gone on. And if I said to him, right, okay, I've got this 5-hour project that I want to actually have us all watch, I just don't think he'd have time for it. So it's a combination of, the scale of the project that we're reviewing, how excited people are about seeing a review on the project. Because with the review show with Ryland and me, we batch episodes because there's periods of time where we can't film an episode. So, like last week, we filmed 3 Craig and Ryland review shows because we know that we're not going to have much time over the next 2 weeks because of commitments that Ryland's got with gigs. So we batched a whole bunch of episodes. While the review show special, if there's something like new and it's current, it allows us to kind of get it out a lot quicker. While, sometimes if we filmed a review show on a particular trick, it might not come out for 3 or 4 weeks, depending on how far ahead we are. So that's the reason. Really, there's no hard or fast rule. I kind of just look at the stuff and I just kind of make a judgment call, and then we kind of figure it from there. Okay, so the next question again is from Archie Cox Magic, who says, what's the best way to get learning Rubik's Cube magic? Should I learn the non-cube tricks with Cube 52 while practicing cube moves with Cube 52 and Cube 3 and gradually introduce them in before getting into gimmicked cubes? Gimmicked cubes. Yeah, you don't need gimmick cubes. You don't. Like Joseph Westbury is one of the best cube magicians that I've ever seen. Adam Black is an incredible cube magician. And both of them don't even use gimmicks as far as I'm aware. They just do stuff with regular cubes. If you ever see Joseph Westbury and you ask him to show you some cube magic, he's going to show you the most insane cube magic you've ever seen, and none of them use a gimmick. Gimmicks are fine. Ryland, is a great cube magician. When he's doing Walkaround or close-up, he does not take any gimmicks with him. The only time he uses gimmicks is when he's on stage and he's performing on stage, and that's when he's got Venom Cube and Cube in Bottle and Cube Wall and 1,000,001 cube tricks. But in terms of Walkaround, he doesn't use any gimmicks, and neither do I. I have an act that I do, a cube act that I do, and none of it uses any gimmicks at all on stage. Or I do Cube in Bottle an awful lot, but I don't use the gimmick for Cube in Bottle, but I do use the cube in the bottle. So my advice would be, how I got into cube magic is I learned Cube 3. And then, that gave me a good grounding point. And then I immersed myself in loads of other ungimmick cube magic and spent ages learning a whole bunch of other stuff like Cube FX by Carl Hein and the original Cube project by Takamiza Sui. I just immersed myself into cube magic. Now, Cube 52 is now out. And the whole point, like you said, of Cube 52 is it's designed to take people that haven't really got much experience with cube magic and turn them into cube magicians. Because if you bring out Cube 52, and let's say you're wanting to do a cube act, but you mess it up. Let's say you're wanting to do some ungimmick cube stuff, but you mess it up and you mix the cube up accidentally. It's not a problem, because you can just hand them the cube and you can say, carry on mixing it. And you can go into the routine of Cube 52 where somebody mixes a deck, somebody mixes a cube, and they match. That's the advantage of having Cube 52 with you, is it allows you to, it's a safety net. So as you're learning cube magic, Cube 52 will allow you to get out of almost any situation very, very easily. And there's some amazing stuff on Cube 52 as well. So I would say, yes, learn as many non-cube moves and routine. Learn as many cube moves and cube routines as you want to do, but don't let that stop you from performing cube magic. Go out with Cube 52, go out with your cube and go and perform magic with it. And then add more into your act as you get better with a Rubik's Cube. Okay, so the next question is from Magic Elliot. Hope you're well, mate. And he says, what tricks do you still do that you first saw when you reviewed them during the Wizard product review? I remember your animation about the pennies by Giovanni Lavira. Do you still do that? I think it's a great piece of magic. You know what? I haven't done the pennies in a very, very long time. And you are right. It's amazing. Salt and Silver is one that I still do all of the time. I've got my own handling of it, but I still do Salt and Silver all the time. It'd be interesting for me to go through the old Wizard product reviews when I was involved in them and do like a top 10, the 10 best tricks from my days in the Wizard product review that I'm still using now. I think that would make a really good video. But off the top of my head, Salt and Silver I still do all the time. Superfly by Scott Alexander I still do all of the time. The Suit Jacket Escape, which was marketed by Bill Abbott's Magic, I do that all of the time. So does Ryland. There's more. I know there's more. There's loads more. I just can't remember where they are. But there's loads. There must be. I'm going to do a video on this. I'm going to put a video together of my favourite routines in the Wizard product review. You've inspired me to do that. So, yeah, off the top of my head, the Suit Jacket Escape is probably the one that I perform the most, but I still do Superfly all the time. But leave it with, and Salt and Silver. And obviously, Ninja Plus. I do an awful lot with Ninja Plus and Ninja Rings. I still do Ninja Rings all the time. Lots of linking ring stuff. I still do. Did we review fiber optics on the Wizard product review? Because if we did, that's one that I still do all the time. There was a trick that I did on the Wizard product review, and it was by Richard Sanders, and it was mints in a blister packet. And I remember giving it a bad review and then interviewing Richard Sanders at Magic Live and him changing my mind about the trick by performing it on me. And at that point, I learned that, and I still do that now. Can't remember the name of the trick, but I still do it now. I'll put a list together. I think that'd be an interesting video. But yeah, there's some to get you started. Okay, so the next question is from Standard. How are you, my friend? I hope it's sunny in Germany. Hi, Craig. Hope everything is fine with you. Yes, my friend. My question is very magical. It's very magical. Who provided you with the music from the channel's jingle? It's just unique and absolutely matching perfectly. I appreciate that, and it's the second jingle we did. When we first started Magic TV, we had a different jingle, and then we switched to this jingle probably a year later. We switched things up a bit because it was too long, the first one. I wish I could say it was by a composer or something exciting like that, but honestly, I just went on Fiverr, and no, not Fiverr. What was it? Pond5.com. That's it. I went on pond5.com and I searched for jingles, upbeat jingles, I think it was, or upbeat rock jingles. And this is the one that sounded the best. And I downloaded it, paid the license for it, and I've been using it ever since. So if you don't, as a side note, if you don't go on Pond5, you really should do. It's where I get a lot of the music for videos that I'm putting together for my company. It's a great website. Okay, so the next question is from Scott Smith, who says, how great would it be to see a top 10 downloads? Best trick, best entertaining, best theory. No one has a clue what videos to choose when looking at a huge list. Absolutely. And I'm actually putting together a few download lists at the moment because it's something that's been requested. So I'm doing like the top 10 card magic downloads, the top 10 coin magic downloads. I've got a load of different downloads videos that I'm doing at the moment. So bear with me because I've got to learn a lot of the stuff in there and perform it as well. So bear with me, but you'll be seeing those coming out over the coming weeks. Okay, so the next question is from David Cardia, who says, hi, Craig. I love using Keymaster and Gatekeeper. Thank you very much. However, I'm thinking of incorporating Keymaster, Gatekeeper, and shelled coins across together as a whole routine. Would you recommend doing Keymaster, then Gatekeeper, then producing the rest of the coins after doing an expansion of the Gatekeeper phase by saying, watch the rest of the coins appear from the expanded hole, and dropping the 3 coins in their hand, then ditching the Gatekeeper key while taking the shelled coin out, or just casually bringing the other coins out from your pocket along with the shell after doing the full Gatekeeper routine, expanding and closing the hole on the key. Which variation do you recommend, and how will you incorporate Keymaster, Gatekeeper, and the monster coin routine together? Because I'm having trouble with pocket management when I want to do the routines. Anyway, thanks for answering our questions. Love your videos. Wow, that's a great question. That's a great question. I do like the idea of expanding the hole and having the coins jump out. I do like that. I do like that. I do like that. You know what I would probably do? I like to make things go full circle. So what I'd probably do, would that work? Maybe. This isn't a fully fleshed out thing, but what I'd probably do is bring out a coin purse. And I'd say, hey, this is a little coin purse, as you can imagine. Inside there's coins, or maybe even a quiver. Inside here, there's actually a key. Can you do me a favor? Can you take the key out and have a look at it? Or would I do that? Would I do that? Maybe I'd do that. Yes, I would. So bring out a quiver and show that there's a key in there, and have them take the key out, and then put the quiver down to one side. Now I do Gatekeeper, and there's a coin in there. That's it. There's a coin and there's a key inside the quiver. So you open up the quiver, you take out the coin, you take out the key, and you do. Yeah. So you take out the coin, you take out the key. There's 2 keys in there. Okay, there's 2 keys in it. Sorry, I'm working this through. So you've got Is there a coin in there as well? Yes. So you open up the quiver and you say, I've got 3 things in here. I've got a coin. Can you hold on to that? That'll come important later on. And I've got 2 keys. You put the quiver down and you show the 2 keys and you do Keymaster. So you go and do Keymaster. Boom. Absolutely fine. Not a problem. And then you put one of the keys away, which allows you to get the gatekeeper key. And you say, you've been holding a coin right there. Now you do gatekeeper, right? So you do gatekeeper. And you have the, you expand the hole to put the coin through, and then you close the hole up. Absolutely brilliant. Now, you say, here's the thing, I'm going to show you something amazing with the coin. And you take the coin and you say, look, I'm going to show you how I can take the coin, put it into, I'm trying to think what's the best way to do here. Okay, yeah. So, I don't know, you put the coin, no, you put the key. Okay, that could work. You put the key back into the quiver, and you get them to hold on to the quiver with the key, and you take the coin, and you say, watch the coin. If I take the coin and snap, the coin turns into the key. You see, the key and the coin change places. This is the key, the coin's inside here, and you show a transposition, which you can easily work out with the quiver. And maybe you do a couple of transpositions between the coin and the key. And you say, of course, I understand how, and then for the final bit, it'd be a little bit like a final load in a chop cup. You say, I understand how the coin and the key change places. What I don't understand is where all these coins come from. And then you tip out, you open up the quiver, and now there's an extra 3 coins in there. And those 3 coins have just come out of nowhere. And now you take that key, you put the key away, you take the other coin, you say, well, as I've got some coins, let me show you something. So you'd be using the quiver. So basically, you'd have the keys and the coin inside the quiver, do Keymaster, put one of the keys away, do Gatekeeper, do all of that, then use the quiver to do like a 2-phase transposition between a key and a coin, which you could very easily work out. If not, let me know and I'll go through it with you. Do that 2-phase transposition and have them change places, and then put them both in their hand. And you say, you're probably wondering how the key and the coin change places. Well, I don't even worry about how the key and the coin change places. What I can't understand is where all these other coins come from. And you tip out all the other coins, they've come out of nowhere, and then you're into your shell coins across or your monster coin across routine or whatever it is that you want to do. That is how I would do it. That is probably, I'd have to play around with it a little bit just to iron the kinks out, but I think that would be a structure that would make sense with that. So let me know what you think down below, and if you want me to go through how the transpo would work, let me know and I can do that as well for you. Okay, so the next question is from Hungry and Hungover, who says, hi Craig, I've got a couple of questions about stage magic. I've seen a bunch of your videos about it, but there's something I have no idea about. The thing I'm dying to know most is, how does one even get started? Like getting a performance in the first place. Do I go to an open mic night? Like, I don't know how to get booked or venues that would show magic. How does one get their foot in the door to being a stage magician? Honestly, you need to have an act first, or you need to have a place where you can develop an act. And this is where I differ of opinion with a lot of people on Facebook. A lot of people on Facebook will say the second you start charging money for gigs, you don't want to do anything for free. I completely disagree. I subscribe to Brad Burton's ACE philosophy. And if you don't know what this is, Brad, who's a professional speaker and a business mentor of mine, basically suggests that when you are becoming a professional speaker, and honestly, there is such a crossover between being a professional speaker and being a professional magician, especially as a professional stage magician, he says that you have to have 3 columns, A, C, E. Assets, cash, and experience. Every single time that you do a gig, you need to have one of those 3 things. So in other words, if you have a gig and they pay you, that's great, because that's cash, that's the C, no problem. However, if you've got a gig and they can't pay you, but there's a videographer there and they will guarantee to send you the videos of the act that you've done, well, that's great assets. If they put a link through on their website to go through to your website, and that's going to improve your SEO, that's a great asset. If you get a testimonial or a chance to perform to a celebrity, or a really great testimonial that goes on Google My Business or Facebook or Trustpilot or something like that, that's a great asset. So sometimes you can do a gig and get assets and social proof that you can then use to get more gigs. things. But the other thing is experience. You know, the bottom line is you've only got one chance to make a first impression. And I could sit here and I could say to you, how to be a stage magician. Go out and speak to an agent and tell them you're a stage magician and go and do your first gig. But the problem is, if you're not prepared for that first gig, then you're going to die in your arse. It's as simple as that. So you need somewhere where you can get experience. And I've been speaking to a lot of people on my mentoring group on the Netrix in the gold section about this recently. And what I suggested to them is the same thing that I'm going to suggest to you, which is, first of all, make sure you've got an act. And when I say make sure you've got an act, I'm not talking about make sure that you've got a theoretical act in your mind. I'm talking make sure you've got an act that you've rehearsed inside out, back to front, front ways, sideways. So what is your opening? How long is this act going to last? What is your opening routine? After the opening routine, what are you going to go into? What's the transition between your opening routine and the next routine? What's your hook line? Then after that routine, what are you going to go into next? What's your transition? The whole act has to be put together. Once the whole act has been put together, you need to script it. Now, I don't really script that much, but when I first put an act together, I've got bullet points. I've got things that I want to hit, and I write them down, so I've got them in my head. Make sure that you know what you're going to say. Then after that, you need to rehearse the act, and I'm not just talking about how you rehearse a close-up trick where you sit down at your living room and practice card magic. I'm talking about a full-on dress rehearsal. Go find yourself a place. It could be, you know, book a village hall for a couple of hours and lay your whole act out, because the thing that I see a lot of new stage magicians doing that they do wrong is they don't practice having everything laid out in front of them. So when they're going on stage for the first time, they look like they don't know what they're doing, because they can't think, okay, I need this, but where's this? This is over here, but I need to be over here for this. I told a story once about a magician that I saw. Didn't do a particularly great show, but one of the things that he did at the end, his finale was he had an envelope hanging down from the ceiling, and his thing was he was going to take the envelope and switch it behind a chair. Classic method, right? So when he went into this finale, he was like, hey, this envelope's been here the whole time. Can you get me a chair, please? And he asked someone to get him a chair, because that chair is going to be the chair that has the envelope that needs to be switched in. The problem is the routine he did before that was a chair test, and there were 4 chairs already on stage. It looked ridiculous. Why are you going to fetch a chair when there's already 3-4 chairs on stage that you could have used to climb onto instead? It's things like that that you iron out during a dress rehearsal, and you rehearse it and rehearse it and rehearse it. Then you get people to come in and watch it. People that can be super critical, people that can be honest with you and give you honest feedback. Not yes men, not people that are going to tell you you're brilliant, people who are going to give you an honest opinion. When you've got to that point, then what you're going to do is you're going to go out and you're going to find any and all places to go and perform for free. You're going to go to retirement villages. You're going to go to working men's clubs. You're going to go to open mic nights. You're going to arrange a night. You know, you're going to say, hey, you know, reach out to all of your friends and say, look, I'd like you to come around my house. I've got a new show. It's going to run half an hour. I'd like you to come and watch it. I'm putting drinks and nibbles on. Come on over, but I want you to give me your honest opinion afterwards. And then film every single performance. Every time you get a chance to perform, film it and then watch it back and make notes on what went good and what went badly, and then fix it and then do it again and do it again and do it again. Not everyone performs on stage because it's a difficult thing to do. You can go and learn a couple of card tricks and you can go and be a close-up magician and you can get a decent reaction, because if you learn 4 or 5 card tricks and you've got a nice personality, then you'll be okay. Case in point, Matt Cluley. He is an amazing performer. He's got very little experience at magic, but he goes out and he performs close up and everybody loves him. You don't need to have much experience, but to be a stage magician, to go and perform on stage, you have to make sure that you've got all your ducks in the row. And I haven't even talked about understanding vocal projection, understanding how to walk on stage, understanding how to talk on stage, understanding about how to bring a volunteer up on stage, understanding about how to actually engage an audience, how to make it interactive, how to look, where to look, what to do, where to say this, how to do this. Everything is planned out to the nth degree. And that's what you need to do. You want to perform magic on stage, you've got to put in the time. It's not easy, but if it would be easy, everybody would be doing it. Hey, right, so the next question is Yuri, who says, hi Craig, hope you're doing well. Small question this time. Do you think you will ever consider doing a full vlog while doing a gig if they allow it? Absolutely. It's something that I'm planning on doing. excuse me, it's something that I want to do. And I'm looking for the right gig at the moment. I thought I was going to do it this Thursday, but it's going to be a bit problematic with the clients. But I'm looking for the right gig. If I can't find the right gig, there's a restaurant near me that we supply magic to, and they would happily have me do it. I don't really want to do it in a restaurant, but if I have to, I will. So yes, that is something that we are planning on doing on Magic TV, and then it's going to form the basis of a few videos. One is just going to be the whole thing from arriving at the gig. I'm going to be videoed up from the very first second I arrive at the gig, walking in through the door, speaking to the client, liaising with the client, walking from table to table. We're going to show everything, warts and all. So yeah, that is something that we are planning on doing. Okay, so the next question is from Mystery Man, who says, question for Craig, thoughts on the bowling ball briefcase illusion? Did you ever perform it? Do you like the trick? Why? Yeah, it's great. I've got a briefcase, a bowling. If you don't know what that is, by the way, guys, you bring out a briefcase, you open it up, and you bring a bowling ball out. For many, many years in my show, I used to do a bowling ball production to start the show, not the bowling ball briefcase. I used to do Kevin James Bowlerama. So I'd bring out a sketch pad, draw a bowling ball, make it appear. Did that for the longest time. I haven't done it for a long time, but I used to. And it was a big part of our illusion act as well. Russ used to do it in the illusion act. Not anymore. But I preferred, the reason I bring that up is I preferred Bowlerama to the bowling ball briefcase illusion. I actually thought that Bowlerama was better and more visual and more of a, and I could do it to music, and you could kind of do the briefcase thing to music. I think the briefcase thing is a great opener. So you walk out, you've got the briefcase, you open it up, you bring out a ball. David Penn used to do it brilliantly. I don't know if he still does it in his act, but David Penn used to do it amazingly. He'd do it at the end of a Magic Square routine. So he'd do his Magic Square routine, and he'd build up the energy as he's doing it, and he'd be like, boom, 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 boom. Look at that. Now these four, 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 these four. This is absolutely impossible. But that's not the only thing that's impossible. This is also impossible. It's a bowling ball. And he'd bring out everything he was doing with the Magic Square from the briefcase, which would be there the entire time. And then bringing out the bowling ball was like an end moment to that. And it was amazing. It was kind of like the equivalent of having a final load in a chop cup routine. So it's like the energy builds and builds and builds, and then you've got this incredible moment to finish. So yeah, it's a great illusion, and I do like the trick. I think it's very visual, and I think the visual is important. Okay, so the next question is Mystery Man, who says, hi Craig, my question is what to wear while performing professionally in hot, sweaty environments. For close-up, do you think cargo shorts and t-shirt with a waistcoat over it is acceptable? It seems good for extra pockets and tricks, but not sure. What would you wear? It's down to your character, man. There's a lot of things that you need to consider when you're performing. One is your character. One is the environment in which which you're performing in. Two, one is what the client's perception is of who you are. So if, for example, if you've got a website and it's pictures of you in a suit, nothing but you in a suit, and then you turn up in cargo pants and you haven't told them that that's what you're going to be wearing, that's going to be a problem because they're expecting one thing and they're getting the other. I will say that wearing cargo pants might, if you had loads of pictures of you on a website, it might turn people off. Oh, I'm looking for somebody a little bit more professional for this corporate gig. But I don't know if you build it into your act. I mean, look at Tom Crosby. He performs all over the world, and he walks out in, khaki pants and a waistcoat sweater type thing because that fits his character. Look at John Vanderput. He walks around everywhere dressed as a dragon. So really, it just depends. You know what I mean? It really just depends. Build it into your character and you'll be fine, but you need to kind of look at what your target audience is. What's your customer avatar? What's the type of person that you perform for? Would they be okay? It's not really about you, it's about them. Would they be okay with you dressing in that sort of dress? And if you are, fantastic, but make sure that their expectations meet reality. What I mean by that is don't have loads of pictures of you in a suit and then you turn up in cargo pants. Make sure that people are aware of what you're going to be wearing before you turn up. Okay, so the next question is from Divishan Magician, who says, have you ever done Toxic Plus? And because of them taking ages to put in the remainder, or for whatever reason, by the time the reveal, it's 1 minute after. This happened to me, and I just said, well, close enough, a minute late, but obviously they weren't as impressed. What's a better response in this situation? Well, one, without getting into method here, I'm going to be very careful with how we talk about this. But one, the first thing that I would say is rush through that section. You know how long you've got, so keep the patter to a minimum. When you're doing that reveal, keep the patter to the minimum. Number two, if you know, and you're going to know because of the vibration, you're going to know if it's ticked over to the next minute. You're going to be aware of that. So if you know it's ticked over, I would just carry on talking, and I would build that into the presentation. So, let's say it's, 10:59, for example, at night, and you've got 11 o'clock, and you go, look at the last four digits, 10:59. 10:59. Now, that might mean anything to you, but this is, if you look at your clocks right now, it's 11 o'clock. Now, you're probably thinking 10:59, 11 o'clock, that's wrong. But think about this. When you put that final sum in, when you entered that final digit and you pressed equals, that was around about a minute ago. And if that was around about a minute ago, that would have been 10:59, and it's now 11 o'clock, which means we got it bang on accurate. Thank you very much. And it's just kind of more about making it, it's almost like you're leading them down the, I got it wrong, but no, I didn't, because think about it, because that's true. If they entered it a minute ago, then it would have ticked over to 11 o'clock and it would have been 10:59. Just build it up like that. Don't be apologetic. Don't just go, oh, well, it almost worked. They don't know what the trick's going to be. Remember that. The audience does not know what the end reveal is going to be. So because the end reveal, they don't know what it is, you can frame it in any way that you like. If you frame it like that, that will absolutely work. 100% it'll work, right? So that's what I do. If you want an answer, if you want to know what the best response is, in my opinion, that's probably the best response. Okay, so the next question is Divishan Magician again, who says, do you do Shoot Awagawa's one-handed jump link? I've practiced it for 2 weeks and only get it right half the time, which makes me think which makes me think, is it reliable to nail every time at gigs? If you practice hard enough, or is it partially luck? So here's the thing. I don't do the jump link. You're talking about the thing where you're doing the linking rings and you do that and it links up. I don't particularly like that move. I think it looks more like juggling and less like magic. It doesn't fit my style. So it's not something I've learned. However, what I will tell you is I have seen Shoot Awagawa and many other people, including Matthew Garrett, do that move absolutely every single time and nail it every single time without being funny, Divishan. And I'm genuinely not being funny, because I'm a big fan of you and I'm a big fan of your magic. You can't have the attitude of, I've been practicing it 2 weeks and I think I can only get it right half the time, so I don't think it's reliable. Look, I spent 1.5 years learning how to do a one-handed shuffle. At 6 months in, I could probably only do it 1 in 2 times. Every other time, it just wouldn't go. After about 1 year, I could probably get it right 80% of the time. It took me to 1.5 years to get it perfect so that I could nail that one-handed shuffle every single time. And it was worth it because I do it in every single gig. I've got a few different ways I use the one-handed shuffle. But if I'd gone 2 weeks in and I'd gone, well, I'm only getting this 50% of the time, this is obviously not reliable, it's luck, I never would have it in my repertoire now to be able to do. And the problem with a lot of magicians these days is they want instant gratification. And again, I'm not saying that's you, but I'm not here to lie. I'm here to tell you the truth. So the truth is, don't aim for instant gratification. Just because you can't do something 100% of the time after 2 weeks doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad trick. It doesn't necessarily mean it's not going to work 100% of the time. It doesn't necessarily mean any of that. It just means that you've not given it enough practice. It's a bloody hard move. You've got to link a ring onto another ring with one hand while shaking it. It's a hard move. Now, if you want to do that move, you need to put the time in. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't do a linking rings routine. You just do the linking rings routine, and when you've got to the point that you've learnt this move, you add that move in. But you're going to have to practice that move and practice it until you get it right. I know you know Ryland. Ryland does the flying linking rings. He does it in every single show. It took him weeks to get that. After about 4 weeks, he was tangling himself up with thread everywhere. Now he's got a feature of his act that literally, you know, we're getting people ringing up going, oh my God, I want Ryland on my act, and can you do this trick? Because he's put the time and effort into it. And anybody who does look at anybody who does anything really, really well, they've probably put the time and effort into it to make it absolutely perfect. So come back to me in 6 months, dude. Come back to me, practice it every single day, and then come back to me in 6 months and tell me it's not working 100% of the time. If you want to do the move badly enough, and I'm guessing you do as you've put 2 weeks into it, then you have to put the hard work in. It's like I said earlier on in this Q&A. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. But honestly, go and watch Shu Tamagawa do it 100 times in a row and tell me it's not practical. It is. Okay, we got one more from Divishan Magician who says, do you do that escalated fast by Harapan? I don't know if it's okay for you to answer this, but does the method use crimps? Asking because this will decide whether I buy it or not because I hate crimps. I don't think I do. No, I don't know what it is. It's a download on Vanishing Ink. I tell you what, I'll buy it and I will let you know because I don't do it. So, but I do like Harapan and I hadn't even heard of this. So you've brought something new to me to my attention. So leave it with me and I'll have a look. Okay, so the next question is from Adrian Suter, who says, "Hi Craig, I have the impression that many beginner magicians and hobbyists, including myself, hesitate to use the dual reality principle. Spectators might talk to each other and find out how the trick was done. Is this really an issue and what can a performer do to minimize this?" Well, the way that you kind of minimize the dual reality thing is by or if you're worried about it, you can do dual reality in a way that if the fact that you've done dual reality is exposed, it's not really that big an issue. So I'll give you a perfect example of this. In my coin routine, Empowerment, which is on my Vanishing Ink Masterclass and on the Netrix and a couple of different places, the whole concept of empowerment is the spectator is making the coins vanish from one place and appear somewhere else, and they're doing it themselves. They've got the coins, they're doing the magic, right? That's what empowerment is. With that in mind, the final coin is it looks to the audience like this: that I give somebody else 3 coins, I take the final coin, I give it to the spectator, they hold it in their hand, they feel it go, they open their hand, they vanish it themselves, and they're in somebody else's hand. Now, in reality, that's not the case. In reality, by the time the final coin happens, I have conditioned that spectator to know that I'm trying to make them look like $1 million. So when the final coin happens, I do a coin vanish, and I hold the final coin here. I take the other 3, adding that 4th coin, and I give it to someone to hold on to. So they hold on to that. I then look the person directly in the eye and I say, look, you know, for the final coin, if you're going to be a magician, you're going to have to cheat a little, maybe tell a little white lie. You don't mind, do you? They go, no. And you go, brilliant. Hold your hand out, squeeze this coin, hold it tightly. Do not let me get to it. And I look them directly in the eyes and I say, look, trust me with this. If you trust me, I'll make you look like $1 million. And that's kind of me saying to them, do not tell people you have no coin in your hand. This is going to be amazing and you're going to look like a god. And then what happens is I make a big deal of them making the final coin vanish. They make the final coin vanish themselves and it opens up. Now, you could argue that that's a little bit more instant stooging than dual reality. There's a bit of both in it, but I'm using this as an example. So the point is, a couple of times in the thousands of times I've performed that routine, I've had the spectator open their hand and show that the coin's not there before I was able to carry on with the presentation. If that happens, and it's very rare, it's probably 2 times ever it's happened, if that happens, I just go, oh my God, the coin's disappeared already? I can't believe it. Ladies and gentlemen, he made the coin disappear already. Give him a big, massive round of applause. So in other words, if the dual reality doesn't hit, or if the instant stooging, or whatever you want to say, if that doesn't hit, it's totally not an issue. Does that make sense? But also, a lot of the time with dual reality, you don't know that the person that you are performing on doesn't realize that there's a dual thing going on. So, for example, one thing that a lot of mentalists use, it's a classic use of dual reality, is having somebody come up on stage. You say, I need somebody to come up and help me. You right there. And you bring them up on stage, and as you do, you switch your mic off, and you go, what's your name? John. Okay, brilliant. And what's your date of birth? 12th of April. Okay, John, 12th of April, thanks. And you bring them up on stage, but they can't see that you've asked that question because you've knocked your mic off and your back's to the audience as you're bringing them up on stage. And then as you come up on stage, the mic gets switched on and you go, fantastic. We've never met before, right? We don't know who we are. I've never met you. We haven't set up anything beforehand. Is that correct? And your name is John. Is that correct? Your name's John. Yes. The audience are impressed because you've never met the person before and you've just told them their name. But from the guy on stage's point of view, you're just saying, yeah, this is your name, right? That's a perfect example of dual reality. That person on stage with you is not really going to know what the effect is on the rest of the audience because they're getting a different perception of the situation compared to the people in the audience, right? And it would be the same if you use the date of birth a little bit later on. So a lot of the time, the thing I can say is don't worry about the dual reality principle. Don't worry about it not working because, look, the bottom line is, if spectators talk, what are they going to say in that situation with the name? They're going to go, oh, it's amazing how he knew your name. Oh, yeah, I told him my name. Oh, okay, cool. Like, it doesn't diminish the effect at all. But if it's something, the cool thing about magic is if there's a principle or a technique that you don't like, that doesn't work for you, that's fine. Don't use it. There's so many different principles. There's so many different techniques. There's so many different things that you can use to entertain the audience and to perform magic that if there's something that you are worried about or a performer is worried about, don't worry about it. It's totally not an issue. Just use something else. Go in a different direction. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. Okay, so the next question is Hankster, who says, hi, Craig, do you include TV rights for all of your tricks? Like if I wanted to do Magic Button on America's Got Talent, would I have to run it by you? And on that note, if you had to go on America's Got Talent, which of your effects would you perform? I feel like Magic Button or Keymaster would play well close up in front of the judges. Thanks. So first of all, I hate when people withhold TV rights. I hate it. I hate even more when people withhold social media rights, but TV rights as well really annoy me. None of my effects or routines or anything have TV rights withheld, and a lot of people have actually performed them on TV. If you want to perform any of my routines on America's Got Talent, and I see you doing it, I will be so proud of you, and I'll be so happy that you've chosen to use one of my effects. So please, by all means. So if I had to go on America's Got Talent, well, Ryland did go on America's Got Talent, didn't he? And he used mind blocks. So Ryland did go on America's Got Talent, and in the live finals or the live semi-finals or whatever they are, the live rounds, he did mind blocks. So I mean, you could say mind blocks because that's what I actually did. But if I was going there, I would probably approach the judges. I think I would probably approach the judges. I think I would do a little close-up set. I'm never going on America's Got Talent, so this is hypothetical. But I would go on. I would do a little close-up set. I think I'd start off with something really strong and visual that really just grabs their attention. Something like Thud, which is a routine that's in my book that's coming out later this year, which is one of my favourite routines to perform. And the only two people I've ever taught that to are Alex Foden and Nemid Phoenix. But Thud, or some sort of really quick coin routine. I then go into Magic Button. I think I'd go into a very quick version of Magic Button, and I'd finish off with something really quick and really visual. I've got a routine coming out with Penguin soon, which is one of the strongest things that I do with a pack of cards, and something I'm so proud of. It's really cool, and I don't know whether I'm allowed to actually tell you guys what it's called because I will get in trouble with Penguin, and I'm always getting in trouble with Penguin, and it's not good. It's called Superimpose. It's called Superimpose, and it's ridiculously strong and the perfect follow-up for Magic Button. So I think I'd probably do that. I'd probably do Thud, followed by Magic Button, followed by Superimpose, and I'd keep it really tight, sort of 2 or 3 minutes, involve all the judges. That's what I'd probably do if I was going on, which I wouldn't do ever. Okay, so the next question is called GRGRYL. That's a girly. How you doing? I recently saw a YouTube video of Henry Harris performing Keymaster, which looks very similar to Keymaster. I was wondering if you'd seen it, and if so, what are your thoughts on it? I'm a very big fan of Henry Harris and Alex, and I think that they are amazing. And I believe that Henry thinks that this is an evolution of Keymaster, and that's his opinion, and that's absolutely fine. And obviously anything Henry's going to perform is going to look amazing because he is just the consummate magician. I don't really think there's much of a difference between Keymaster and Keymaster, honestly. If you actually think about it and you had to describe the two effects, it would be, I have two keys, I'm going to give you one, the hole is going to vanish from here over to there, and then it's going to disappear and go back on this key on the stem. That's Keymaster, but it's also Keymaestro. So in terms of the effect on the audience, the effect is almost identical. And the methodology behind it is very similar. Obviously, Henry's got an extra gimmick in there, which allows a moment of magic, which Keymaster doesn't have. But then again, I used that same gimmick on Keymaster Reloaded back in 2011, and I dismissed it because it made the whole routine slightly more impractical. So I don't know. Look, he's doing his thing. I'm not getting involved. I think that Henry is great. I think that Henry is an amazing magician. I think that anybody he performs Keymaestro to is going to be fantastic. I just honestly, looking at the two of them side by side, there's very little difference. Ask yourself a question. If I hadn't released Keymaster, bearing in mind all of the crap I've had over the years with Red and everything else, if I hadn't released Keymaster and I'd released, and Henry had released Keymaestro, and then I bought out Keymaster, what would the community be doing to me right now? They'd be coming down with me on a ton of bricks. That tends to be what happens. Now, I'm not saying do that to Henry. Absolutely not. And realistically, I don't have the rights to Keymaster. Penguin do. So if anybody's got an issue, it's going to be Penguin. All I can tell you is I think Henry Harris is an amazing magician, and I think that his creations are amazing, and I think that he's a very ethical person. I just don't think that Keymaestro is better than Keymaster. That's just my opinion. Okay, so the next question is from Christopher Cam, who says, another great Q&A and congratulations on Magician of the Year. You definitely deserve it. I absolutely love the magic you produce. It gets amazing reactions. Thank you, Christopher. And again, I said it at the beginning of the video, but thank you to everybody and anybody that voted for me for the Penguin Magic Creator of the Year 2023. I apparently am the only person that have won 2 years in a row, which is amazing. And you know what? I actually think that I'm determined to win it 3 years in a row. I said to Sean Dunn, I am determined to win this thing for a third year. And if you actually think about what I've had come out so far this year, I've had Evoke. That's pretty good. I've had Magic Button. I've had the Mind Blocks deck. I've had Level Up. Those are the 4 tricks that I've had come out so far this year. I think they're 4 absolutely amazing tricks, and I know what's coming out over the next 7 months as well, and I think I've got some absolute stonkers. I'm determined to win it this year. I think that the first quarter of 2024 has been my strongest quarter ever. If you think about those 4 tricks, Evoke, Mind Blocks, Level Up, and Magic Button, such an eclectic range of magic if you actually think about it. Magic Button is a card routine, or multiple different card routines. Evoke is emotional mentalism. Mind Blocks is mentalism as well, but more of a fun type of thing. And Level Up is basically coin magic without coins. So I don't know. I think I've had a very strong start to the year, and I'm going to continue to work hard. You know, I can get that third year. I can do the 3-piece, and then I can retire and go and live in a desert island somewhere and just put my feet up. Okay, so the next question is from Mentalist Bar Ninja, who says, Nightshade coin set question. Hi, Craig. I own the Nightshade and Mirage. If your other coin set was available in $half size, I would purchase that as well. If you're talking about Apparition, by the way, it is available in $half size. All of the coin sets that I've bought out are available in $half and $1, just so you know. But thank you for the kind words. Anyway, I have a question about the coins being examined before the hopping halves trick, as shown in this video where you perform it to Jack. In your demo, Jack gets to inspect both coins. You clearly place them into your left hand, where you probably already have palmed some setup. You then cleanly take out the silver coin, but my guess is that this is the coin that was examined. Show it on both sides and put it in your pocket. This should leave you with the setup that was already in your hand, plus the examined copper coin, but you're able to show that you have 2 coins in the hand. I'm unable to reproduce this. Right, I've just watched the video, by the way, because I read it, and I watched the video before I started answering this question. It's very, very simple. I haven't got my Nightshade on me at the moment, but let me go through it with you. You're going to take, you're going to create a copper silver split coin, okay? And you're going to put the shell, the silver shell on top. And so you make sure that the silver side of the split coin is the tail side because the shell is the head side. So in essence, you've got one coin, which is made up of a head, which is the shell, and inside that is a copper silver split coin. The silver side is the bottom and it's the tail. So when you show it, it looks like a normal coin. That goes in left hand finger palm. You bring out the bag and you tip out the 2 coins. You show the silver coin, you show the copper coin, right? And you pick them both up and you throw them both in the hand. And they're going to hit the coin in your hand, the coin that's set up in your hand, but no one's going to see that because of Ramsey's subtlety, and they're not going to hear that because you're throwing 2 coins into the hand anyway. The other thing is when you throw the 2 coins in your hand, make sure that the silver is uppermost. So this is in finger palm. You take the copper and the silver, have them examined, throw them in the hand, and because the silver is uppermost, you reach in, you take out the bottom coin, which is the real silver. You put the real silver in your pocket and you ask what that leaves over there, and they say copper, and you say copper and silver. Now you open your hand and they're seeing the regular copper that they examined, and you're showing the setup, which you can show as being a regular normal coin because it's a shell on top of a copper silver split coin with the silver side, with the tail side down. So it looks just like a normal coin. You then put that back in your hand and you pick up the copper coin. You put the copper coin in your pocket, and when you open up your hand, you're going to pull the shell off the coin, showing a silver coin and the copper coin. And in reality, it's actually a shell and the copper side of the copper silver split coin. So now you put the shell in your pocket and you show just the copper coin. You close your hand, you say what's there. They're going to say copper. And now you can open up and you can split the split coin to show 2 coins. So hopefully that makes sense. If you've got Nightshade, all of that should make sense. But if you need any more clarity, let me know in the comments down below. Okay, so the next question is from David Blaine, who says, hello, Craig. Thanks for the videos. You're more than welcome. What is the one close-up stroke walk-around trick that you love performing because it looks like real magic and you get the most reactions from simply because the wow factor of the gimmick and what it allows you to achieve? Best walk around trick that you love performing. I would round it down to 3. 3. So close-up tricks that I love performing. I'm going to do a video on this at some point, but some of my favorite close-up tricks that I love performing because it just gives that wow factor is Trick Shot Production by John Bannon. I love trick shot production. I actually do it not with a deck of cards. I actually do it with a photo deck that includes an 8-ball in it. And so they pick this photo and boom, the 8-ball appears. It looks absolutely amazing. So I'd say trick shot production. I would also say Chop gets insane reactions when I'm doing walk around. Really, really awesome. And you know what? I'd say Gatekeeper as well. Gatekeeper, when you have that moment where the hole expands in their hand, forget about it. They absolutely love it. So I'd say those really give the wow factor for me, but I'm going to do a longer video about this soon. Okay, so the next question is from Jack Inkenbottom, who says, cheers for answering my question, Craig. Hope everyone feels the same as me, that your coin bag material is craving an update. The production of the jumbo coin using the bag is insanely visual. It'd be worth anyone reading this to seek out a coin bag and a copy of the DVDs immediately. You can't really get them anymore, but I agree. I will say that I've spoken to Peter Nardi since last week, and I've said to him, I really think that we should re-bring out the coin bag material with updated routines, a little bit like we've done with Nightshade, because I just think that they're just as good now as they were back in the day. And I've got a lot of other touches on them. So I've got a meeting with Peter Nardi. We'll see how things go with that. Okay, so the next question is from Leo Spades, who says, hi, Craig, love your work. Thank you very much. I have a pretty good set to perform for small groups, but I can't find a way to get booked, sadly. Do you have any tips? Yeah, the biggest tip that I can have is just get out there and let people see who you are and what you're capable of doing, and try to create a brand. And what I mean by that is you can create a website very, very cheaply. Create a website. Focus on, I can see on the next question, you're 14 years old. So you're 14. You've got a lot of time to be able to do this. Focus on upskilling yourself, okay? Don't run before you can walk. There's going to be a lot of people that might be trepidatious about booking you because you're 14, you know, and they're comparing you against adults. So upskill yourself as much as possible. Learn, and I'm not just talking about magic. If you genuinely want gigs, if you genuinely want to learn how to get gigs, then learn how to build a website. Go on YouTube and go on masterclasses. Learn how to build a website. Learn about business. Learn about SEO. Learn about search engine optimization. Learn about PPC. Learn about Google AdWords. Learn about digital marketing. Learn about list building. Learn about tripwire technique. Learn about all these important things that you need to learn about. Because honestly, these days, the future is digital. You know, the Yellow Pages isn't around anymore in the UK because nobody uses the Yellow Pages. What people do is they search online. If you can't be found online, it's very difficult for people to book you. So spend time and energy learning how to be everywhere on the internet. And when you're not doing that, go out and build a brand for yourself by going out and performing in every single situation that you can. Let everyone know how good you are. Print up some cheap business cards and give them out to everybody and anybody. Let people know that you're super skilled. That's the best way to be. Don't rush it. You're only 14. But go out and upskill yourself as much as possible, because these are skills that are going to really take your career to the next level when you're a little bit older. Okay, so the next question again is from Leo Spades, who says, I'm 14, so sometimes people underestimate my skill, and then I knock their socks off. So do you have spectators that don't pay attention? Should I challenge them, or should I use that to my advantage? I wouldn't challenge people really that much. You know, you're going to have people that are going to underestimate you. You're 14 years old. You know, that's just the way it's going to be. So concentrate on, you know, my friend Tom Mullinger, it's not his quote, but he says this all of the time. His name's Tom Mullinger. He goes by the performing name of Jester Styles. And he is genuinely one of the best magicians in the UK. You've probably never heard of him. He's amazing. He always says, be so good that they can't ignore you. Don't focus on the negative. Don't focus on people not paying attention. That's their fault. You just focus on being the best version of you that you can be. You just focus on making sure that you are awesome. Make sure that you're happy with your performances. And go out and, like I say, perform to as many people as you can. But, you know, if people underestimate them, people underestimate you, that's your fault. I could say to you, build it into your presentation and say, hey, you know, I'm a kid, but I can do stuff. When Ryland does his Harry Potter act, the first thing he does when he walks out on stage, within the first 10 seconds, is he does 2 really awesome Rubik's Cube vanishes with regular Rubik's Cube solves with regular cubes. He walks out on stage and he goes, hey, my name's Ryland, I'm a kid, but I'm also a magician. Being a kid magician is awesome because I can do things that other kids can't. Take this Rubik's Cube, for example. It'll take ages to solve this Rubik's Cube, but I can solve it with just a little shake. You hear the audience go, he says, actually, and he picks up a second Rubik's Cube, if I wanted to, I could solve it without even touching it because I could solve it in mid-air. Within 15 seconds, he's done 2 Rubik's Cube solves and he's got the attention of every single person in the audience. Now they're sitting up and paying attention, that he has credibility because he's done something and people can go, well, okay, he's a kid, but did you see that? So think about something that you can do at the beginning of your act before you even speak. Something that makes people go, oh, wow. Something that's obviously a display of skill, or something that obviously is, you know, not something that's a kiddie trick. You know, like maybe Sudden Death by David Regal or something like that. Like an impossible moment at the beginning to establish credibility. That's something that you could do. But outside of that, just focus on being the best version of you that you can be. Okay, another question from Leo Spades, who says, can you make a video on how to build a character? Answer, yes. That's something that I can do. I'm not going to try and answer it now because it's a very long question to answer, but I can definitely do that, and will do that. So I'll put together a video on how to build a character. I might even get cameos from other people to be involved in it as well. Okay, so the next question is from MCK Magic, who says, "Hi Craig, what's your opinion on using tricks with multiple outs at a Walkaround gig? And then the opposite, a trick like Celebrity by Jamie Williams has the same ending each time. What do you think about using these tricks in Walkaround, and would you worry about the spectators talking about the different endings afterwards?" I think it very much depends on the gig. So, for example, and I've talked about this on the channel before, that I go to a gig with a bag full of stuff and I decide what to do based on the gig. So, a trick of mine that uses multiple outs is Petty Cash. It's a fantastic trick, but it uses outs. If I was doing a house party for 40 people in a house, in a back garden, in the summer, where everyone's chatting to each other and everyone knows each other, there's a very good chance I wouldn't do Petty Cash, because there is a good chance if I did it 3 or 4 times, people would talk to each other. If I was in a restaurant, that sort of thing wouldn't worry me, because people don't know each other in a restaurant. You know, it's not like this table is going to speak to this table. They've never met before. They're going to go in, they're going to have a meal, they're going to leave. So it's not an issue. If I was going to a Walkaround, a corporate gig, for example, and there's like 100 people there, there's a chance that a lot of those people have come from all over the country, from different departments. They don't know each other. There's a very good chance I would do it there. So it's really about knowing the environment. It's the same about it's the same with the trick that has the same outcome. You use Jamie Williams' trick, Celebrity, as an example. And yeah, I totally get where you're coming from, because obviously the end thing is the same. They're always going to pick Batman. And that's something I do highlight in the review show. And it's something that is a negative if you're performing in certain environments. But again, it's totally not an issue in certain places. It's issue in another place. If I was doing something where there's one reveal and it happens over and over again, I would keep it for a special occasion. So Celebrity is a perfect example. I've done Celebrity in the past, and I've done it like maybe once to like one person, like a VIP, and I've given them the key as a souvenir, because you can get giveaway keys. That's something that you might want to do, but you wouldn't want to use the trick over and over again, because people are going to go, well, it's always Batman, right? So yeah, you're absolutely right. But really, more than anything else, it's down to the environment, and it's down to the environment in which you perform in. And one thing that comes from experience is being in that environment and going, well, okay, I think this is not going to work. I'm going to leave this in my case. I'm going to do this instead. Okay, so I had an email, which is kind of weird, from Magic John. Normally, people leave questions down below in the comments on the YouTube video, but Magic John submitted to my website 2 questions for the Q&A. So I noticed them, and I have the questions here in front of me, so I'm going to answer them. And he says, "Hi Craig, Magic John here." Hi Magic John. 2 questions. I would prefer if you answer these off the top of your head rather than making a video about them. All right, no problem. Question 1. You arrive at your stand-up or your small stage gig and found that all of your props are missing. What would you gather from local shops that would allow you to do a 25-minute show for a mixed crowd? I'm assuming that you are not planning to do a show just with 1 pack of cards, please. Well, I mean, you could do a show with 1 pack of cards very easily, to be perfectly honest. But you're talking about a small stage gig here. So you're going to have stuff that's going to work on stage, right? So what I would do... I've been thinking about doing a video like this, where I actually just go into a shop and then go and do a gig. And it very much depends on the shop. I would mingle around the shop and look for stuff. But if I was doing a small stage show... So this is a small stage gig. So it's not something that's close up that I'm doing close up. I'm doing a stage show. So definitely I would have a pack of cards with me, because I know stuff like multiple selection would work in that situation. I know something like cards across would work in that situation. I'd probably also get myself 5 matching coins, like 50 pences or £2 coins or something like that from a person's till. You know, I'd ask for change, and I would then be able to do a coins across. I do a really nice handling of coins across on stage with regular coins. If I was performing for a younger crowd, I would probably get a bunch of coins and I'd see if I can pick up a wine bucket and I'd go into Miser's Dream. I'd do a Miser's Dream routine because Miser's Dream is something that really plays to a big crowd. Absolutely not a problem. I love Miser's Dream in that sort of situation, but I prefer it for a younger crowd, not an older crowd. But I might consider doing Miser's Dream. And one thing that I would probably do, if I could get myself a lemon and a knife, and a bag, like a paper bag or something, like a grocery bag or a craft bag, I'd probably do a Bill and Lemon style routine. Obviously, I wouldn't be able to use a thumb tip to steal the bill, but I'd probably do a bill vanish. I'd probably just vanish the bill and have it appear in the lemon. That's probably something I'd do. If I could get an apple corer, I might even do a version of Chop, but instead of using Chop, I'd use sleight of hand, and I'd use a duplicate bill. That's something I could do. But I've got a Bill and Lemon routine that runs 12 minutes, that's on stage, that's absolutely brilliant. So if I could get a lemon and I could get a knife, so I could do a star trap in top of the lemon, and I can have it inside a bag, that's all I'd do. And that would allow me to do something that I love to do in my shows, which is sort of finish the circle. So I'd open up the show by giving out the bag, and I'd say, hey, I've got a gift in there, don't look at it. I'd do the rest of the show, and then I'd finish off by apparently making a mistake with the lemon, with the bill that I've borrowed, and then it would be inside the lemon. So finding a lemon would probably be a fairly important thing for me to do. I'd probably try and get some cans of pop as well, because I'm very, very comfortable doing like a fizz roulette style of routine, which is Sean Hayden's adaptation of Paul Harris's Fizzmaster. I've done sort of a fizz roulette type thing to 100, 200 people in the past, and it always plays really well. And if I didn't want to do fizz roulette, the original Fizzmaster is great. If you get yourself a can of lemonade and a can of Coke, for example, and you make the fizz change places, that's something that can play to a big audience as well. So if I've got the cans, I can go Fizzmaster, I can go fizz roulette. Either of those would work really well. If I could get myself a couple of clipboards with some A4 paper on it, I could get myself some cards so I can make billets with a pair of scissors. I'd probably do some sort of drawing duplication, and I'd probably have the two clipboards down on the table, get a couple of Sharpie markers, have them write down on a billet something that they could draw really, really easily, and do a center tear so I can see exactly what it is that they've drawn. Let's say it's a house, and then I'd stand back to back with them, and I'd say, you draw it, I'd try and draw it in real time, and we both end up with a house. That's drawing duplications work really well on stage, and they play to a big audience as well. And the other thing that I would try and do is, I'm a big fan of chairs, which is the routine that was published by Bill Abbott. And if the venue I was performing in had 4 chairs, I know I could get 10 minutes out of just having 4 chairs on stage with me. I might even try and do a chair test as a lead-in. If I could get myself some paper or some card, I could very easily put together a deceptive chair test. So that's probably what I'd do. That would give me like a 40-45 minute show if I could find a shop that would sell that sort of stuff. Okay, so the next question again is from Magic John, who emailed in a second question, who says, this might not be your style of magic, but I still hope you can answer by putting yourself in someone's shoes. Let's assume you are a street performer in a foreign country where you don't know the local language. What would you perform for 20 minutes, more or less silent act comprising of an attention-getting opener, building into an increasingly amazing series of routines, and ending with a crowd-pleasing closer that gets people to tip you? The crowd is between 20 to 50 people. And I don't know the local language. It'd be very hard to do a street show if you don't know the local language, especially as I don't do street shows. But I would probably follow Cosmo's advice in that I would start off with coin stuff. So what Cosmo says in his Tales from the Streets DVD is he starts off by doing simple coin manipulation, and he'll wait for a couple of people to come over. And when those couple of people come over, he'll start doing simple coin manipulation. And the advantage of coin stuff, coin flurries and, coin behind the ear and that sort of thing, and coin splits, is I don't have to talk. people are going to understand exactly what it is that I'm doing. So I'm going to get a couple of people over, pull it from behind their ear, getting them laughing. I'm going to do that sort of stuff. And then when a couple of other people come over, I'm probably going to do some coin stuff for them, maybe take out a couple of other coins, you know, kind of get them involved. And when I've got like a few people, I'll then kind of try and start a show. What I would probably do is I would do stuff that's very visual, that I don't need to talk and it's obvious what's happening. So when I've got a smaller crowd and I've got coins in my hand, I'd probably do some sort of 3-fly followed by a jumbo coin production. Then as more people join, I'd probably bring out some rope and maybe do some fiber optics moves, because I can bring a kid up on stage and I can get them to help with that particular routine, and it's going to make everyone laugh even if they don't understand what I'm saying. I'm not going to say much anyway. I might even just do the whole thing to music. Because rope magic is just obvious what's happening. You know, I'm going to cut this, it's going to restore. It's very, very obvious. I might throw some Rubik's Cube magic in there and just do some, if I do some really quick visual solves, I think that's something that would grab people's attention. And for the finale, I'd probably do a chop cup, or I'd do a cups and balls, because again, people can see what's happening without me needing to say much. And cups and balls, the reason why so many street performers do cups and balls is because it's a great way as a finale to get them to tip the hat. Now, I might have talked pure bollocks because I've never worked the street before, but you asked me to get into someone's head that is a street performer, that's performing to an audience that doesn't understand him. That is what I would probably do. So there you go. I hope that helps. Okay, so the next question is from Tyron Johnson. He's not actually asking a question. He's saying Craig Petty's Penguin lecture is the only Penguin lecture you need. I really appreciate that. I know that it's got like nothing but 5-star reviews on Penguin. I know an online reviewer didn't like it, and that's fine. That's his prerogative. I love the material I put in that Penguin lecture. I love the material I put in that Penguin lecture. I'm so proud of it, and I know that it's had a lot of 5-star reviews, so a lot of people must feel the same way. But thank you very much for saying very nice things about my lecture. I appreciate it. Okay, so the final question today is from Nightmare, who says, what are your thoughts on the colour-changing deck? Do you have any favourites? I love the colour-changing deck. Colour-changing deck, Nightmare, is one of my favourite plots. And I've published a whole bunch of them over years. Let's talk colour-changing decks, shall we? So Stick Pack was one that I published. It was on my original Parlour DVD. And then after Parlour, it went on the Netrix. I love that version because it's a colour-changing deck, but it's not done as a colour-changing deck. Instead, at the end, there's a load of stickmen that appear on the deck of cards, which is really cool. So Stick Pack is really awesome. I very much like it. I also like the version that I put on Dave and Craig's Hit the Road, which is a DVD I put out with David Penn years ago, which is also on the Netrix. That's a very, very, very strong version. And again, it's a logical... It fooled so many magicians when I put that out. I love that. In terms of colour-changing decks that aren't mine, Modern Times by Henry Evans is great. If you don't know what that is, first of all, you take the cards in the box vanishes and appears in your pocket, and then the deck of cards instantly changes from red to blue or whatever. Really, really nice way of doing a colour-changing deck. It really is. And very easy to do. It's not a difficult thing, but looks very, very visual. And rather than just having it all drawn out, it takes place very, very quickly. Also, David Regal's colour-changing deck is so smart, because David Regal's colour-changing deck is the one where he changes the faces of the cards as well. So, like, the black pips become red pips, and the red pips become black pips, and the back changes as well. It's super clever. I really do like that version of the colour-changing deck. But my favourite colour-changing deck of all time is John Bannon's Stranger's Gallery, which is an absolute modern classic. It got marketed as its own trick, but it was originally in Smoke and Mirrors by John Bannon. And if you're interested, Michael Kaminskas in Miracle Material has a great handling of the original Bannon Stranger's Gallery. So I love Stranger's Gallery. There's just something that's so perfect about it. And I have got a variation of Stranger's Gallery that uses no gimmicks that, again, is on the Netrix. So which is really cool. But if you didn't do a color changing deck and you wanted one color changing deck that is brilliant, look at Stranger's Gallery by John Bannon. So there you go, guys. That's another video in the bag. Thank you once again for joining me right here on Magic TV. I really appreciate it. Now, do me a favor. First of all, subscribe if you haven't. Second of all, join the Netrix, www.thenetrix.com. It's my online streaming platform for magicians. I think we're at upwards of 500 tricks. We're adding more all of the time. And it's where you go to get a lot of my material before you see it anywhere else. And there's live sessions with me every week, and there's a bunch of stuff. I'm not going to try and sell it now. Just go and join the Netrix and try it out for a month. Also, if you haven't already done so, go check out the interview with Rob James that went up last night. That video is amazing. Rob James is a true inspiration. If you don't know his story, it's well worth watching that interview. And then finally, check back in tonight. There's a review show special where I'm reviewing a new trick that I'm not particularly fond of. And the weird thing is, the entire community seems to love this, and I don't. So maybe I'm in the wrong. I don't know. You'll find out more when you go check out the review show at 9 o'clock tonight. But I'll be back again very, very soon. Thank you once again for joining me. My name's Craig, and this is Magic TV.